Continuing along with my ride removal series, I thought why not discuss my home park, Kennywood. This amusement park has been thrilling guests for well over 100 years. It is home to 3 wooden coasters that have earned the Ace Coaster Classic Award. The park has a total of 8 roller coasters, that's including the soon-to-be Steel Curtain, which is opening this year. Kennywood has done a great job incorporating the old-timey amusement park feel with a dose of modern thrill attractions. Unfortunately, one thing about Kennywood is they don't have much land to work with. Sure, the park has recently purchased some property around the surrounding area, but those plots of land will be a challenge to expand into. The park is situated on top of a mountain, with some of their famous roller coasters diving down the side of it. I'm sure the park could figure out a way to add another coaster to their lineout without removing another existing roller coaster or attraction, but if any further expansion will most likely lead to the demise of one of their beloved rides. Over the past 30 years, Kennywood has only had to remove 1 roller coaster. Well, I guess 2 if we were to count the transformation of Lil Phantom into Phantom's Revenge. The park has done a great job of preserving their rides, which is great to see that they've been able to keep their existing coasters for so long. As you can imagine, all 3 wooden coasters will most likely be safe from removal. The only thing I could see causing their demise would be like a freak fire accident, but I don't ever see the park voluntarily removing their wooden coasters. With that said, it now just leaves us with the park's steel coasters. So let's discuss the probability of one of them getting the axe sometime soon. Exterminator. This spinning wild mouse coaster has been in operation for 20 years now. It's a fun family coaster that has decent theming, especially for a regional amusement park. Unfortunately, the ride has a really poor capacity and actually features some of the longest lines in the park. It's possible that Kennywood could just opt to remove this basic spinning mouse coaster and replace it with another family-style coaster that can handle the larger crowds. It's also possible that the coaster could be getting gutted and the building reused for other purposes. I don't think the building itself will be removed because it also serves as like a nice barrier/sound barrier to the end of the park. I could be wrong, of course. They could just tear it down and use the plot for another coaster, but I'm not entirely convinced. Lil Phantom. As long as this ride continues to operate without any major issues, I don't see this park removing this anytime soon. As some of you might know, as it was made aware in the news last year, Lil Phantom suffered from a ride derailment of sorts. No one was hurt, and the issue was resolved in a timely manner. Being a kiddie coaster, the park really wouldn't see much return investment by replacing a kiddie coaster with another kiddie coaster. Of course, this ride will reach the end of its operational life and will have to be removed someday. But I don't see this happening relatively soon. If the ride has another major breakdown, I think that's when the park will have to throw in the towel and remove it for a modern kiddie coaster. Skyrocket. As most of you probably know, Skyrocket was basically SBNO for the majority of the 2018 season. This led to many rumors saying that the park was going to remove this coaster, which I must say is silly talk. Kennywood wouldn't be removing this coaster within the next 5 or even 10 years at least. Sure, it's a prototype, but the tech used on this ride is still the same tech we see on all the Skyrocket 2 clones around the globe. I think the real reason why this coaster remained closed for the majority of the 2018 season was honestly a perfect storm kind of deal. The ride had a major technical breakdown, and the replacement parts weren't going to be cheap. I think the park just opted to keep it closed for the remainder of the season because 1, they were still trying to get Thomastown open, and 2, the park was already in the early stages of construction for Steel Curtain. I assume the repair of Skyrocket became a back burner issue. That way they could keep their expenses down for the rest of the 2018 season. As far as I know, Skyrocket will be opening with the rest of the park on opening day. Phantom's Revenge. Currently, the park's marquee attraction, Phantom's Revenge, is my personal favorite roller coaster at Kennywood. Of course, this will all be up in the air till Steel Curtain opens, but regardless, this is a fantastic coaster in Kennywood's lineup. If the park were ever to remove this coaster, it would be because they're going to replace it with another huge coaster in its spot. I don't think this is going to be happening anytime soon. This ride is one of their main audience pull. So it wouldn't make sense to replace a reliable, popular, top-rated attraction for another ride of similar stats. Phantom's Revenge should be safe for quite some time. Well, till the ride starts to prove to be unreliable, which I don't see that happening anytime within like the next 20 years or so. Alright, well that was basically all the steel coasters in the park, minus Steel Curtain, because that ride is brand new, and it's not going anywhere unless it turns out to be a huge disaster, which I highly doubt it. But anyways, there is one other ride I would like to discuss, and that's not a roller coaster, but the Raging Rapids. The rapid ride attractions at parks have been kind of on the decline. I think they're probably a more of an insurance nightmare, and Raging Rapids takes up a nice little piece of land. Now, it is possible that they could build a roller coaster right over top of it and still preserve Raging Rapids, but if I were to take a guess, I would say Raging Rapids would be the next ride to go out. It takes up a lot of space, so they would have a lot of land there to work with to expand. I think they could even go down the valley there, because I know they are having issues with permits and whatnot to dive down on the other end over by Jackrabbit. But I think this is a very good plausible spot. In fact, I think at one time there was a rumor about a Rocky Mountain construction roller coaster that was going to be built over top of the Raging Rapids ride. Obviously, that has proven not to be the case, but I could definitely see this being a real possibility. So, of the roller coasters that would be facing the chopping block, here's my ranking from the most probable to get removed to the least probable. This is not including the Raging Rapids ride. Number 1, Lil Phantom, and I only say this because of reliability. Number 2, Exterminator. The park will replace this to get a higher capacity attraction. Skyrocket, number 3. It may be popular, but if it starts to be proving very unreliable, pushing up maintenance costs, it could get removed. Number 4, Phantom's Revenge, the park's marquee attraction. Unless something major happens to it, this ride is staying put. Well, that about wraps it up. Kennywood is a unique park with its own unique land expansion issues. I think we could still see another roller coaster come to the park without sacrificing another roller coaster. Well, for the most part. As I mentioned, the whole Raging Rapid idea, they don't even have to tear it out. They could build right over top of it. So there's still options available in the park without removing something. Do you think one of Kennywood's coasters could be removed soon? Let me know in the comments below. As always, stay tuned for more great content coming your way by XscreamThrills.